It's August 2019, deep in the Mojave Desert, just outside Barstow, California. The heat during the day here is oppressive, but at night, the area feels completely hollowed out and empty. Sitting right in the middle of that isolation is the Sunridge Inn, a rundown motel operating since the 1980s that survives on travelers who just need a cheap bed for the night. One of those travelers is Daniel Carter. He's a 31-year-old truck driver who has been staring at asphalt for 12 hours straight. By the time he pulls his rig into the motel parking lot at 11:40 p.m., he is entirely drained, operating on autopilot. Inside, an older man with heady, tired eyes hands Daniel a room key. But right as Daniel turns to leave, the clerk drops his voice and gives him a very specific, cryptic instruction. If you hear anything from inside the room, don't open the bathroom door. Daniel walks into room 214. It's small, dimly lit, and smells faintly of damp wood. He drops his bag, kicks off his heavy boots, and collapses onto the bed, falling asleep the second his head hits the pillow. To a driver whose brain is foggy from 12 straight hours on the road, a cryptic warning from a night clerk just sounds like a local superstition or a bad joke. Daniel was entirely too exhausted to interrogate the situation, which made him the perfect target for the room. Looking at this timeline tracking the night's events, everything remains completely silent until exactly 2:37 a.m. That is when the anomaly initiates contact, waking Daniel up with a soft, rhythmic dripping noise from the bathroom, like water hitting tile. At first, Daniel writes it off as just a leaky pipe, but then the physical properties of the sound change. The dripping slows down and gets heavier, sounding like a thick, viscous liquid hitting the floor. Then comes a faint scratching noise, nails dragging across the wood of the bathroom door, followed by the slow, uneven sound of breathing. The air in the bedroom suddenly feels much colder and heavier. Daniel's sleepy confusion evaporates into active dread. He realizes the breathing behind the door isn't random. It is reacting to him. Whatever is inside that bathroom knows exactly where he is. His heart racing, Daniel remembers the clerk's warning, but curiosity overpowers his caution. He steps carefully across the room, reaches out, and turns the handle. Instantly, all sound stops. Complete silence. He pushes the door open and peers inside. There is no monster waiting to lunge. The bathroom is completely empty. The sink is bone dry, and there is absolutely no source for the noise he just heard. The silence inside the bathroom wasn't a relief. It was a transition. By turning that handle, Daniel had removed the only barrier keeping the sounds on the other side of the wood. The room was no longer a place to sleep. It was an open space for whatever had been scratching to step out. Shaking it off as extreme fatigue, Daniel goes back to bed, but sleep is impossible. After lying awake in the dark for what feels like hours, the noise starts again. Only this time, the breathing and scratching aren't coming from the bathroom. They are coming from the corner of his bedroom. Daniel freezes. His body refuses to move. A tall, vaguely human shape steps out of the shadows. Its posture is distinctly off balance, and its limbs stretch far longer than they should, moving forward with an unnatural, jerky rhythm, like it's wearing a body it hasn't quite figured out how to use. As the dim light hits its face, the skin appears pale and completely featureless, almost like it was erased. But as it watches Daniel, the face begins to actively knit together. Hollow, dark eyes sink into the skull, and a mouth stretches wide, building human details in real time. The creature steps right up to the bed. It has perfectly replicated Daniel's exact face. Staring down with pitch-black eyes, it speaks, perfectly matching Daniel's voice. "You opened it." The entity leans in close, whispers, "Now you can rest." And the room's lights violently flicker and blow out. When the flickering stops, Daniel is no longer in the bed. The entity didn't just kill him, it completed its transition. It walked out of room 214 with his face, his voice, and his truck, leaving nothing of the original Daniel Carter behind for anyone to find. By the next morning, Daniel Carter has been completely erased from the physical world. His truck is gone from the lot, his luggage is missing, and the bed in room 214 looks completely untouched. The only evidence that anyone checked in at all is located inside the bathroom. Smeared across the glass mirror in a thick, dark substance slowly dripping down the surface are 2 words: he left. The motel staff doesn't call the police. They don't launch an investigation. They simply wipe the mirror clean, remove the message, and prep the room for the next guest, keeping their business running as usual. Over the following weeks, more guests placed in room 214 start reporting a leaky faucet, then scratching at the door, then heavy, uneven breathing. Some abandon their rooms in the middle of the night. Others simply vanish. A quiet, unofficial warning begins to circulate among the truckers out on the desert highways. Whatever you do, avoid room 214. Room 214 stays open for business because the people who work there choose to ignore what happens behind the door. Every time the staff wipes the mirror and makes the bed, they are resetting the trap for the next driver who is too tired to listen to the warnings.